Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we just come to you tonight, Father, and again, Lord, we just first want to come to you for the mayor, Father, that you just continue to touch his body and heal his body tonight, Father, through the surgery, Lord, that you just continue to give him strength to be able to do what he needs to do, not only in his personal life, but Lord God, for the town, Lord. Now, Lord, we do indeed come to you tonight, Father, and ask you, Lord God, for wisdom and knowledge, Father. Lord God, indeed, we're asking you to just stretch forth your hands, Lord, and to touch our council tonight, Father, and to move on them and to just, Lord God, lead them the way that it needs to be led, Father, and to touch their lives and to move on their lives, Father, to be able to lead our town and to touch our town and to make a huge difference in our town tonight, oh God. And Lord God, that you just move and minister through their lives tonight, Father, because Lord God, the needs are many, they're great tonight, Lord, within our town, Lord. And so, Lord God, we're asking you tonight, Father, that you would open up the doors and windows of heaven, Father, and shower down blessings upon the town, upon their townspeople tonight, Father, even to the desires of their heart, Father, Lord God, tonight, Lord, and that you would just touch and you would move, Father, and Lord God, that you'd bless like never before. And Lord God, we give you praise and glory for it all, through it all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's just a workshop, so I'm just going to review some stuff that I've got here for you. You've got a copy of the budget there in front of you, a proposed budget on here. I have some comments that I want to give to y'all based on how I kind of came up with some of these numbers and why they're kind of different from last year. If y'all don't mind, I'll go through, if you'd like, I'll go through all of them first, and then y'all come back and question, comment, or we can do it line item by line item, it's up to you. But I'll go ahead and just read this. Overall, you'll notice in there that all employees in town have received a 3% COLA, except for, I took myself off there, the town administrator, who I'm contracted. The police department is currently at a 2% annual increase based on the stepping grade system.
Where are we at?
I'm just talking about in general in terms of revenues. But I'm just doing an overall comment about it, and then we'll go through the revenue section.
Do you want to have that?
This meeting is over.
So the police department currently has a 2% annual increase based on the step and grade system that was passed to council earlier. The chief and I are currently evaluating an employee evaluation system which could provide additional merit increases for officers and other employees if y'all decide to move forward with that. In terms of revenue, property tax, in the past, the town has under budgeted the property tax, the budget of $500,000, based off of what has been done in the past. It's reasonable from past fiscal years. Also keep in mind that this is a reassessment year, which should show an increase in property values. In terms of the interest income, due to the town creating accounts with the local government investment pool, and current rates of 5.25%, revenue from interest will drastically increase. In the past, the town has received approximately 0.01% interest rate. So as of right now, the town has some substantial amount of money in these funds. I try to only bring out funds when the town actually needs to write bigger checks. So currently, in terms of fund, I wouldn't even say this is fund balance. This is what y'all currently have in your account. Between hospitality tax, general fund, and arm of the town currently has 1.6 million in LCHIP. There will be drawdown in the lean months from July.
Do we have anything like that? Or are you reading from something?
Yeah, I can't follow you.
I can make, these are just comments that I've got.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a lot of information that, you know.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, you mind just read the copy so I can read that.
You got it? Okay. You want to wait till she gets back?
Yes.
items that I won't have on this sheet because, I'm taking that class in ACOM. And we're going through the budget section right now. And they had a recommendation on something that I'll give to y'all at this meeting. It won't be on this because it just came up.
This one, that money that we put in
Which one?
So just, when you're looking at this, you've got a kind of simplistic view which shows the budget from last fiscal year and the proposed for 24. And then the other one that has a lot more columns, and if y'all need a magnifying glass, we can provide that to Trevino, is to show the last 5 years.
I think it's
There's sometimes, I mean, look at it. Y'all ready? I'll go back to the interest income section. Due to the town creating accounts with the local government investment pool and current rates of 5.25% revenue from interest will drastically increase. Y'all in the past have budgeted $250 a year because you had a 0.01% interest rate between hospitality tax, general fund, ARPA. The town currently has 1.6 million in LGIP. Now there will be a drawdown in lean months. You don't get as much money between the months of July to about mid-January. The bulk of your money comes in mid-January through June. And so, but even with, during the lean months, having to draw that down, the revenue item should hold on there. So with the amount of money that you have in there, now there will be expenditures that come up. With a 5.25% interest rate, you're looking at roughly around, it's about $70,000 to $80,000 a year that you get in terms of interest revenue. I didn't put that number in because you're gonna have some drawdown in that. And then later on in the spring, maybe I'm the one that does this. I listen to Bloomberg News every morning, and they're talking about the federal interest rates. It is not likelihood that they're going to decrease the rates until about spring of next year. And there's a good chance we may even see another 4-point increase. So this will actually end up having more revenue for the town. Business licenses, the town routinely receives $300,000 to $320,000. So the budgeted number that we have on there, the 305, is reasonable based on what has been in the past. Rent, you'll see that the rent number has been decreased. And that is because if the town ends up selling the golf room, hypothetically, I went ahead and budgeted that in there. If the town doesn't, of course, that would end up coming back. Hospitality tax, this item has been under budget based on past performance. You'll normally bring in around $20,000 to $25,000 in terms of hospitality tax, and have been budgeting in the past around $14,000. This revenue is also supposed to be used only for advertising events and other visitor activities. And so I'll make notes as we go through about what that money is going for. Trash cans, sales of additional trash cans have not been what was budgeted for in the past. I think when Mr. Eubanks was on here, they put 14 in there. We have not seen that many people come by and buy additional trash cans, and so I've knocked that back down to about 2,000, which looks more reasonable on there. Building permits, based on recent months with building permits, now that the town's working with RCI, the numbers projected based on current revenue fees. So in the short amount of time that we've been working with RCI and the town's actually getting the revenues in, I took that on a monthly basis to get us an idea of what it would be for a 12-month period of time.
And how many have we received so far on these building permits? How many permits have come in?
How many fees have come in?
Yes, for the permits.
I don't know the number of fees, the dollar amount, we just recently, I think it was right around $3,000 in permit fees that has come in to date. Now on your sheet on here, it says $2,300. At the time that I sent it out to you, that was the amount.
Is that after RCI payment?
It is not after I don't think it's after RCI, but then we also have the $20,000 is covers some of that when it goes back out. So we're gonna still show that it's gross revenue coming in, but then you'll end up paying some of that back out in terms of, you got a question?
I'm listening.
Oh, you just looked like a question. We'll end up paying some of that back out in terms of when we pay them their monthly or however often they send us a bill for that. If you'd like, I can break that down more.
When did they start collecting, like doing the building permits?
Permits.
Yeah, when did RCI start doing that? September? October?
No.
That's more like January.
Well, yeah, it's closer to January. And it may even be February on there. I can just find out that though.
And so how were they paid?
So they sent us an invoice based on the number of hours that they work here in town. And then in part of that invoice that we get from them, they also show the fees and they show the permits that they issued, and then they get a percentage of those permit fees that come in. That was part of their contract. If y'all ready, I'll move on to expenses. Audit expenses, the current CPA firm, it's my understanding that they use interns and students to reduce the costs they charge to the town, which prolongs the time required to produce a final draft, especially when these types of employees are unavailable. So we have been asking for this audit for about 6 months now, and have not received that audit, and we just now on the 11th of May got a draft, which still needs to be updated and altered before they can come and present it to y'all. What I am recommending to y'all do is you'll end up paying a little bit more, but going with a CPA firm that other communities use that can get something done in a month or 2 months, so that y'all have a chance to have a full audit to review well in advance before budget time comes up.
Did we not already use the CPA firm?
We did, but it's what was recommended when Terry Fant retired. And they've done it, this is the third year, and it's been bad this year.
Last year we got it late too.
Yeah, that's what he said, the reason that they're gonna use an intern and things like that, is they've been doing it like 6 months, asking for it for 6 months now, they got it.
They also just recently had a breakup in the firm, and so they lost a lot of staff from there. I saw Trey today this morning, and he recommended, he said it's not a good idea. He would recommend moving forward with them either based on the late turnout on this. That number on there is based off of what Woodruff currently pays for their CPA firm. It's out of Greenville. I dropped off a copy of our 21 audit to them today to get a more exact number for what that would be. But I just put that number in for now. I do not think we will be higher than Woodruff. Actually, I imagine we'll be much lower than what Woodruff.
What number is that?
That's the number on the expenses side of things
Audit expense?
for auditor.
Yeah.
So, do we have to put that out for bid? I mean, it's a firm, so.
It would be, I would see it as professional services.
Right.
So we could end up just selecting someone, but I'd like for us to take some bids from different companies, right? We've already sent it out to, what was the name of that company that we sent it to, that I think Inman uses? We've sent out a copy of our 21 to a couple other places, and I can present that to you so you can see what others charge. I mean, we don't need to pay some astronomical amount, but if we can get something back in 2 months, 3 months, and not 8 months.
So like, let's say we're talking about the Woodruff company that Woodruff uses. Maybe talk with Woodruff and find out how comfortable or satisfied they may or may not be. And get some recommendations from staff there.
That's exactly how I got this. So I sent this out to, I reach out to Steve Bowman and Cowpens, and I reach out to Lee Bailey and Woodruff and Joe Lanahan up in Inman, and get their recommendations on stuff. And Lee Bailey is very pleased with them. It's Matt Phillips, it's a guy who does it.
They all use the same firm?
They don't, Inman was using another company, we've given them a copy of it, I'm waiting to hear back from them on that. But I'll reach out to a few other people. Trey had a recommendation today for somebody that he thought about. These companies are in Greenville, I'd love to find a company in Spartanburg that does this. I'll keep looking. Advertising, as the town completes its master comp plan, there will be a need to make advertisement to promote the town. These expenses are covered under the Hospitality Tax. So this is one of those things that I mentioned earlier that's coming directly from the Hospitality Tax. The miscellaneous section here, this is slightly higher than before due to this being an election year.
Go back to advertising.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that jump so high from 500 to 5,000?
The town should be spending a lot more than $500 a year on advertising. There's a lot of things that we need to be letting people know about the Town of Pacolet. $500 is nothing. $500 is less than one ad.
Have we spent over the 5 so far?
We've gotten very close to it, and I've had to turn down a lot of stuff that's out there. We had been advertising in the past with Cross State Park, and we had to turn that down. I advertised once with One Spartanburg for newcomers to let them know how to contact, how to know the Pacolet's here. There's some other opportunities that I would like for the town to consider. If y'all see anything out there that you think the town should consider, but I imagine that once we have this new comprehensive plan, new master plan, letting people know, developers know that we've got this plan that's out there and kind of spreading the word, that gives us money to be able to use for that. Miscellaneous, this is slightly higher than before due to this being an election year, which we'll have to cover the cost on there. With it not being a major normal election cycle, the town will end up covering the cost there. Christmas lights, the quality of lights in this place has diminished over the years, and this increase is to cover the build-up of quality displays. Festival, until the Riverfest event can be sustaining, there needs to be a need for the town to support this endeavor. There's also an opportunity for the town to create another event. Funds for this event come from the Hospitality Tax. If y'all remember back in September, I mentioned to y'all that I was creating a 501c3 for the town. It is nearing the end. I just recently filed with them, or gave them the last of their information for, they were looking for some more stuff from the IRS stuff. But as soon as I have that, I'll let you know. This would be, hypothetically, it could be a community group, be some council members, some people from the community, to put on events and activities and give y'all a 501c3 to be able to use. Capital improvements. These are undeclared projects, like infrastructure improvements that could be matched with grant funds. Much of this can be covered with ARPA. So this would be to do, in the past, when I first got here, y'all looked at doing water and sewer expansions. And this would be money that the town would end up using as matching money for some of those rural infrastructure grants. The comp master plan, this is 50% of the cost of the plan, of these two plans, already approved. The first 50% should come from this current fiscal year. And then funds for this event could be covered, or I think we had talked about being covered by ARPA. Cell phones, in the past, the town has acquired several hotspots for events that is not needed throughout the year. This item's budget has been reduced in this scaling back. If y'all remember back in the Riverfest, I think 2 years ago, bought a bunch of hotspots spread throughout the entire Riverfest event so people could be online. Some of those got misplaced, some of them got taken. We've turned over as much as we can find back to AT&T, also the stuff that was over at the police department, and we're adding now back as we need it. But with that, there were like 15 hotspots that y'all were paying for that even the police department didn't even need. Admin vehicle fee, and in my contract, I have a $400 a month allowance for transportation, and so that is to allocate for that. In the past, it just had been coming out of either miscellaneous or something else because, what's that? It'd be coming out of travel, because it was not in the budget for last fiscal year, or this current fiscal year. Sanitation, no charge here except for salary increases for COLA, no change due to low spending, which is good. But in talking to Travis, I'd like to see the truck washed more often. I think he was getting it washed once or twice a year and just trying to get that, it could use more baths. Street department. This is a big ticket item on here, based on comments from the council retreat held in the fall of 2022. Creation of a public works department to handle all landscaping, provide for backup for sanitation, and new services like trash removal throughout the community, stormwater drainage, cleaning, cleanup of alleys, fishing pier, trimming trees, limb removal. We talked about this at this last retreat. This is a big thing. I put this on here because this was discussed in the retreat. If council at this point is no longer interested in moving forward with that, I can take that out and we'll go back to the contracting out of landscaping services, which we're currently doing. But I did want to show you that it could be done in this this upcoming budget. Police department salary increases based on a 2% annual increase, an increase on fuel, supplies, equipment due to inflation. Repairs should decrease with the recent purchase of new vehicles. On here under zoning, substantial increase to address some dilapidated structures. Y'all mentioned the property up on Walker Street and some others in the community that we torn down. And this was to put in there to cover the cost for the town to start tearing down some of these dilapidated vacant structures that are out there. Public Works Department, there will be a need to purchase equipment which could be covered by ARPA. I am not in the landscape business, but based off of rough numbers that I've looked at, it's approximately $50,000 in equipment, including 2 lawnmowers, trimmers, gas cans, backpack blowers, uniforms, safety equipment. And we can use the trailer at the armory and the green Dodge truck. There will be a need to approve an ordinance to create the Public Works Department. And then I had a question on here. A guy came by last week from Air Medcare and was offering to see if we were interested in employees getting the Air Medcare helicopter service. Normally that thing is several thousand, tens of thousands, $20,000 when they airlift you somewhere. And I didn't know if you wanted to offer that as a benefit to the employees at $75 a year. So I just put that on there as a question.
What is it?
So a lot of times when you're living in rural areas, having an ambulance take you to the hospital can take a long time. And there's a long time for them to come out here. You can call the ambulance several times a year. Have taken 20, 30, I think there's one time it took 45 minutes for them just to get here. And being able to have access to Air Medcare helicopters is, is a benefit for a lot of the.
This is like extra insurance.
So as long as you pay $75 a year per employee, and when that need comes up, and they know that you have that membership, they end up flying you by helicopter, and you're not paying anything more. Because normally, I think it was here, it's like $20,000, $20,000 or $30,000.
Yeah, at least.
And what's nice about it is, from my understanding, is it covers anybody in your family. And I have to let me verify that. But it can be anywhere that they're located. So if someone's on a trip, someone's out of town, it still covers them. Because I think this company covers the whole eastern seaboard.
Copy service.
Yeah, how big, how much it costs?
Just been someone coming.
One, or actually a couple comments that I wanted to make that I didn't already have on here, but I wanted y'all to be aware of. I'm looking to update the natural gas cost on there, or I'm sorry, the budget on there. As of to date, we've spent we're gonna be right over $5,000 in terms of the cost of natural gas for this building. And so I think we're gonna have to increase that a little bit. Plus, we called Union Gas, and they're expecting a 5% increase this next year. And so I'd like to be able to increase that by $1,000. I think we should be able to cover that. And I'll from $5,000 to $6,000 is what I'm looking at. And that has come up since I sent this out to you, but I wanted you to see what I originally talked about. I can update some stuff in the revenues or other areas and change that, but I just wanted you to be aware that's coming to be a change. One other thing that I'm recommending that y'all do is you've got a very healthy fund balance. And as the town buys new vehicles, if they do a renovation to a building or if they build a new building, it would be worthwhile for the town to have a capital fund. And that would be where you would end up getting those funds from.
I think it's smart to take the interest off of that.
What's that?
I think it's smart to take the interest off of stuff. Where you have all the extra funds. I think it's smart to take the interest off that, put it in a capital fund.
Could be done.
Right
Yeah.
now, you know, to start the process. Any interest made off of
And
that.
it's changing it anyway.
Yeah, any interest made off of that, put it in a capital fund, can be used, whatever.
One thing that I was looking at, speaking of interest, and I want to make sure that y'all remember this from years to come, or however long you'll have this, the money in there, but the interest that you receive off of ARPA, what that interest, say you make $1,000 off of the interest of ARPA, you can take that interest and put it into your general fund. It's not subject to the same rules and regulation as ARPA is. And so what I have been doing is at the end of each month, whatever interest that account receives, I take it and put it back into the general fund account. So this is my first time doing a townwide budget. I knew that y'all are going to probably have a lot of comments and concerns and thoughts on here. So let me know. Let me have it.
One thing, let's start with the helicopter service thing, is that the town will pay that for the employee?
What I'm suggesting is the town pays it. It would be, so I mean, $75 per person. We have approximately 10, we're gonna end up having possibly maybe 12 employees, about $750 additional. Now, the other thing is y'all are technically employees of the town. That's up to you if you'd like for it to be also added as well.
So you said in lieu of an ambulance, the helicopter would come. Do they need to wait for an ambulance to come?
If you need just an ambulance, the ambulance would come, or would the airmen people come?
There's has to be some other.
Either or.
The EMS will also see would make a determination if there's any question on whatsoever, they're getting the help out.
So we still wait for the ambulance regardless, right?
Not necessarily, they'll make that determination, maybe there's ambulance already on scene, they make a determination. Most often, a paramedic comes in the ambulance and their ambulance is there, but it depends on the level of the emergency.
Yeah, what I meant was like, if you needed the helicopter ride, the ambulance is the one that decides whether that
Yes, sir.
needs to be called or not. So
Yes,
you
sir.
still wait on the ambulance regardless.
Yes, sir.
Is there, I'm just wondering if you come on the scene or one of your officers coming on the scene as a shooting or something like that, or something that, like their head's gone.
With Chad's certification, he probably will kill it, none of the rest of us could.
Okay, but Chad probably could do that. Okay. That's up to y'all. If you want to do that, the other option would be if individual employees wanted to do it themselves, they can pay for it, just take it out of their paycheck.
I'm just trying to figures the value of that.
Some years ago, we had an incident with a man.
Since this is, as long as the town has been here, I don't see where we have ever did that.
I have not checked in terms of other towns. I mentioned it to the police department and the staff over there, and all of them seemed extremely interested in this. And I think do they even have examples of times that?
Well, like I said, Chad's been doing EMS the last 15 years, and he thought it was a fantastic idea for everybody. He's been working in this region doing paramedic level EMS.
As long as I notice, Packett's been here, I don't know of any time of, that they've had to use a helicopter.
I do. I did. It was a couple of years ago, you remember when Mr. Pillar got attacked? And the ambulance suggested that he be airlifted in Regional 1, landed, and they took him to there and flew him out.
Next year, when we go in the yard, he laid there for so long.
I did. But it wasn't that emergency. But I did, but I had to wait for the one to come from Spartanburg instead of the one in back.
I can tell you, Sunday night I was working, they called for an ambulance for somebody I was dealing with, it took 40 minutes for me to come.
That's what I was wondering, is like, the determination whether a helicopter is necessary. I feel like the ambulance still has to show up.
They have those trucks have the paramedic bosses, and they're considered quick.
The thing is too, you know, we're paying, you know, this amount for like insurance or whatever you call it there. But if you ever call it one time, it's gonna be $20,000, $30,000. It's gonna cost you. Sometimes the insurance company pays for it, sometimes they don't. A lot of times they don't, and you're stuck with that $20,000, $30,000.
So $5 a year sounds like a real bargain for a year.
And like you say, I hope we never have to use it. But with us being so, I guess, removed from Spartanburg, that it's up to y'all. But I think it's a nice perk for a relatively low cost for the employees.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something? Is the air ambulance that you're talking about different than the Regional 1?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the only issue with that. EMS is down 40-something people right now.
Is that what I mean?
They are running their trucks as basic life support. If they tell the fire department, I'm speaking for the fire department, they tell us that a BLS truck is headed to the scene for a stroke patient, heart attack, or whatever, we are automatically lifting Regional 1. If they say ALS is coming, we're waiting until they get there. BLS is coming, we are automatically lifting Regional 1. So Regional 1 is coming, so I think it's a great idea if you want it, but Regional 1's will be here before that med transport, before anybody gets on the scene and says, hey, we have med transport that we can get lifted here. So I just might want to take that into consideration when y'all talk about getting, because Regional 1's coming.
Let me ask you this. Air Med Care helicopter service, do they own helicopters? Or do they
The way Hensley explained it to me is every one of these air ones and regional, this, that, and the others are all the same company. We just put different stickers on the side of them, and they're all owned by the same company. They cover the whole southeast.
So like Regional 1 is actually owned by somebody else, they just,
Exact same?
the pilot and the helicopter is owned by somebody else?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, we talked about that, we're not talking about a whole lot of money there anyway. We can discuss that later. Find some more information out too,
Yeah, I can look at what other communities are doing if they're offering that as well. But that's good to know, because if y'all can make that call, or that call's already been made, before the ambulance gets there, is that what you're saying?
We're gonna make it when we leave the station. before we even get on ball.
And what Mr. Bozar was talking about, ALS versus BLS. ALS has a paramedic on it, basic life support just has an EMT on
Advanced life support and basic life support, is that
it. Yes, sir. Advanced life support, basic life support.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, you get on this,
That's all I've got on there.
you gonna go through, which way are you gonna go through?
I mean, if y'all wanna just ask questions, it's, I mean, I
Okay,
don't know, just y'all just kind of, just start asking, let me know.
who's that? Who got the floor here? Anybody got any questions?
I think we should just go down the line,
Okay,
see if there's any questions.
You start off with revenues?
all right, you want to start with revenue? Anybody got any questions on revenue?
You said that the property taxes are gonna be reassessed?
Yes.
This year?
The property values are gonna be reassessed.
Okay, so it seems like, you know, this is to March, so we're still collecting,
Yeah,
so it should be 500 by the end of the year, right?
Probably.
it depends on the percentage that they collect.
Yeah, yeah,
And then that other will go into delinquent.
yeah.
One other comment, you know, I sent this a copy to Trey just because I've never done this before and he has. Is he recommended we may want to drop it down from 500 to like 495 because you did get 496 in 22. That would be in more keeping and a little bit more conservative on there.
Yeah, I like this, you know, this is just me, I like to, when you do when proposed numbers is what you have in the past, especially when I see it going up and down a lot. You know, back in 2020, we got over 500,000, we went down. You know, and of course that's if people do or don't pay, and with property values going up, there's gonna be a lot of mad people who probably won't pay. There's a lot of, income issues right now, costs and stuff.
But like you mentioned before, this is not a millage increase if they're valued.
Yeah, reassessing the value. And when they reassess, it doesn't mean it's gonna go up. Very possibly could go down.
Right.
So I would rather stick to a lower number as opposed to just, you know, higher.
What are you talking about?
Like he said, 495.
Yeah.
I would rather see something closer to what, you know, if we get more, great.
And I could look at taking it down more, and like if you'll see on there, like the $35,000 for the interest income, depending on how long you keep that money in there and how long the interest rates continue to go up, and it takes much longer for them to go down, that number could easily be $70,000.
Didn't they just raise the federal interest rate again?
They're at 5.25 right now.
I thought they raised it a couple of weeks ago.
They're looking at, I believe it's in June or July, they're looking at another rate increase.
That's what I was thinking. I heard it's gonna be 2 points by the end of the year, and then maybe fall by spring next year.
The way that, sorry, I listen to Bloomberg News, but they say Jerome Powell says that he is not going to be reducing it until inflation gets to 2%. Not going to be decreasing it until it gets to 2% for inflation.
Thank you, Jerome. Bond forfeitures?
That's one that I'm not exactly sure about, and that's one that I've just put in what has been done in the past. And it's based off tickets, it's based on asset forfeiture. You'll see that in 22, it was $183,000. I think that's exceptionally rare. I could be wrong on that. Like I said, I've never gone through a full fiscal year.
If you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's everything you have to do with.
Yes, sir.
What do you think the feasibility of that is? You don't police for profit, I know.
We're not police for profit, I just, with the, you know, getting staff, we're not operational. So until we have officers actually out there doing the turn, those numbers are going to be diminished.
But that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't feel like you'll get 75 by the end of the year.
I think we really look, you know, I've got some aggressive guys, but at the same time, you know, you don't be so aggressive.
I think we should consider taking that down.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, no offense for that. You know, like, we all know that we can't say, hey, you need to meet these numbers.
Yes, sir.
That's, we're not allowed to say that. So I'd rather just ask you, do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I don't see that. And again, we're both doing exactly what you said,
So-
we look at previous numbers.
The 24 that's on there right now, the action to date, that's from July moving forward, right?
The 23, the FY 23 is up until, yeah, I mean, from July up until,
24, 455?
yeah, 24, 455.
That's July until now, that's the actual, and that's,
Like, nothing actually going on.
right, yeah, I mean, we did have a department majority of the time, so. I know that right now with one certified officer and yourself, maybe by July that'll go up to 2 certified officers or 3, right?
We're bringing on a certified on Friday, so that'll be 3 weeks by tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
We have one. So I might be bringing on one, so it's also certified.
Now, let me ask you another question with bonds and forfeitures. Does code enforcement, like, fines written to, that's also in that as well?
So we, you know, we can, probably get some of that too, you know, in the next year, so, what?
Right
50,
now,
75?
right now, we have 0 income whatsoever from that.
Right.
To date.
Right.
For,
That's what I'm saying.
for 6 months, so I don't.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of times in there anyway.
Yeah, I think we should probably stick to about 75. 75,000 a year, maybe.
Everybody good with that?
What's that now?
The bonds and forfeitures, reducing that one to 75.
Yeah.
I just,
You get that, Patrick?
Yes, I got that, thanks. You want to keep moving on? The interest income on there is 35. It could be much higher than that, depending on how interest rates go and how much money is kept in those accounts.
Well, I'll be able to give that right there. I mean, we, like I said, if we get more,
It could go up higher to offset some of these lower numbers that we're dropping things down to.
what was the interest rate when you started? Do you remember?
The savings accounts?
Yeah, when you started, what was, do you know what the rate was then?
Yeah, the savings accounts were like 0.01.
No, like when you changed it over to the,
It was around 3.5 or 3.75, I think.
the
yeah.
local government interest pool?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's went up 1.5 points.
Yeah.
So it probably, let's say it does go up, and then maybe it goes down. So an average of 4%, 4.5% maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll go up at least another quarter point. That Brandon and I do not work for the Fed. But they're saying that it's, everything that I've been hearing, it will not go down this year, this calendar year. It's more likely that it would go down in the spring. Now, how quickly it goes down depends on the inflation rate. But let me look at that, and I'll get back to you on maybe a better number.
Yeah.
The $305,000 for business license, in the past, you've gotten between $300,000 and $320,000 on business licenses on there.
Tony, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
You handle that all the time, I think.
We get a majority of ours coming from the municipal association.
Yeah,
It's the insurance,
yeah.
and that's where a lot of that's coming from.
So it's a pretty easy figure on that.
Yeah.
It's more like it. The 305,000. Yeah, that's, I mean, across, if you look over the years, that's a good figure. I mean, that's a really good figure anyway, so.
Yeah.
And likely it could be more, it could be less, because it's kind of like taxes, right?
Yeah.
What do they pay their license and everything? That also comes from like contractors coming into town and leaving, doing work.
Yeah.
The next one there is 55,000 for Duke Power. We may want to consider updating our franchise agreements. I'm not sure.
The only thing is when you update them, it's put off onto your customer. We're at 3%, if you go to 5, that means your customer's paying
Does that also include Lockhart?
it. Yes,
Duke Power, Lockhart, and
Union Gas,
Union Gas, all three of those are.
and cable,
Yeah, that's all on the same line.
they're all 3%.
So the utility companies would be, that's generalized, right? It's not just Duke Power.
You got, so we got,
That's where we pay our April's wages too, right? Isn't that part of the agreement?
They pay us some money.
They pay us some money to pay for that? I'm sorry?
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's that? So what's in that one, Duke Power, Lockhart, and a portion of April's?
Duke Power, Lockhart,
A Union Gas.
Union Gas, and.
it's all on, there are additional line items for those on there. Did you say they're all under one line item?
No, I was asking.
No, it's just,
Okay.
the 3%.
The Duke Power line is just Duke Power?
You know, so you got cable, but
Those
it's already
cable's right,
cable.
that's what I'm saying, cable's right along.
But Lockhart and the others come under regular business license,
Okay,
but they pay 3%.
okay.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where Lockhart is on this. I know I see the other one.
Yes, it's not listed here, it comes under regular
So
business
you
license.
use it.
Okay, they just pay us because we do their accounts for us. Okay.
So that's just Duke.
Yeah.
What I mentioned,
Asking for more money than
So
those charges.
Lockhart, so just.
Yeah,
I'm on Lockhart now.
it was suggested that as you start increasing your, the expenses on your streetlights and stoplights, that you use the franchise fees from Duke to help offset some of that. Miscellaneous receipts. I'll let you explain that.
that's just what comes in, it doesn't go into anything else. And it just varies.
So like in 2022, yeah, 2022, the 594 was part of it. And then I gotta say last year was grant money.
Well, miscellaneous is like if you get a refund from something, or, you know, just, it's odds and ends, it's not big stuff.
So not, like, so would that be also for like grant monies and stuff like
No,
that?
we do a different line item.
There's a different,
So that would go under supplies?
Mhm.
Do we not have a supply line? So not what
Is the income that would come
We're
in.
just doing the income right now.
so there may or may not be miscellaneous receipts. That's why you keep it low.
Mhm.
And you may notice that from month to month, it goes up and down. Sometimes there's money that's transferred in and out of the fund balance account. Charter cable, we went over that with, same thing with Duke, local government, based off of previous years.
what is local government?
It's money's coming from the state that they give all municipalities. And it's a set figure every year,
What do we get for our,
because we're a municipality.
for what?
We are a municipality. They give it to all municipalities.
Based on size, population, so.
Mhm.
So you-
Rent, I have that going down if we end up selling the golf room.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost like saying we're going to do it when we haven't decided.
Mhm.
What's this?
I said, taking that rate money out of the budget is almost like saying that we've decided to do that already.
I can put it back in there.
I would rather see it there,
Okay,
you know, because nobody's made a decision on
right,
it. I don't want it to look as if we've already made a decision,
okay.
you know.
You gonna budget it back to?
I'll put it back in.
39, you're gonna do it, 58.
36.
36.
36, I'm sorry.
37, I think, last year.
36, 5.
Tony, what is that, 28 a year? The rent, 20?
The rent is 1,800 from alternator.
A month?
And then it's not quite 12, but 12 over here for the post office.
Yeah, okay. So the alternator place, it's about 27,000?
Well, it's 1,800 a month, so whatever.
Whatever it comes up to.
So the 36.5 would be what we went back up to.
Right.
21.6. 1,800 times 12.
26.
So how do we get down to 9,500? We took out the post office too, or?
That's a little post office. This post office is right at 12.
What's that?
Anyway, we're just gonna go back to 36.
Yeah.
I think I had put it on there at 30,000.
Then you reduce the
Yep.
2,100.
I think I had probably had around 35 or 31,000, just to be a little bit conservative on there. Collections. That's our,
Collections is the money that we receive from Union and Lockhart for the clerk.
For the clerk,
For the clerk.
so they only pay if we have one. Is that why it's lower this year?
They will pay them.
So when they're committed to paying 15.6 if we have one here throughout the year. When we didn't have a
We've
clerk.
always had, well, we've always had them, but they didn't pay as much.
Yeah,
It's
well,
up now.
I meant when, like before April was here, there was several months we didn't have a clerk that didn't pay us.
No, they did have a clerk. I don't know what I did.
Well, yeah, I meant,
Yeah, no, they continued paying.
okay, I got you.
City of Union, is there franchise for gas in there?
Is that a set figure too?
Well, it depends on what, it's their gross, whatever they make down here. It's 3% of whatever they're grossing. But that's what it runs usually, about that much.
So 12,000, is that what it is? That's a good number. Why did that, so like, there's budgeted 10, but it never showed an actual, is there a reason for that? In the past years?
So sometimes, so when they do the audits, they don't exactly match up with how the line items are from town.
Yeah.
And I just have to put it in one category and
The bunch were bunched together is what it is.
you'll see, like, for instance, I don't mean to skip around, but if you look at where it says, street department / sanitation, there was a second there where I've got a random $205,376 in there. It's because it just said Public Works.
You think we need to keep that at 12 or understand it's probably not gonna reach 10?
Well,
That's what we had last year, right?
right.
Just over budget.
Well, it may go up a little bit because they're gonna go up 5%. So it may go up a little bit.
So they're raising their cost 5%.
Sanitation fee, I just left it from what it had been budgeted for the last 2 years.
That's the 45 charged every month, every year for your taxes.
Hospitality tax, you routinely bring in $20,000 or more, $20,000, $26,000. So I increased that to $20,000 based off of what we typically bring in. It will more than likely be more, but 20,000 will be a good conservative number to put that total there.
Skip over that SRO stuff.
What's that?
So we'll skip over that SRO stuff.
Contingency fund, it's my understanding that this is just, just in contingency if something comes up. It's $75,000 that comes from general fund.
It's just a carryover.
I think so. That's what it had been in the past. Homestead exemption, 50,000, just based off of previous years. Set off debt.
What's the ARPA line item?
Oh, sorry. The ARPA line item on there is to cover the cost of the comp plan, master plan, and any type of work. So for instance, look down later on under building maintenance would be eligible for that. And then also capital improvements.
How much is the master plan again? How much is the comprehensive master plan?
The total cost, that comp plan, master plan is only 50% of it. So I've got 18,750. So 37.5, so that was the 25,000 plus the 12.5 for ACOP.
So we're gonna plan to use 68,000 of ARPA money?
So there's 37,500 so we're looking at the 18,750. The other two amounts that are on there would be to cover the capital improvements and
Building maintenance?
building maintenance.
So building maintenance went up to 25 from 15.
It was 15 before. We've talked about replacing some plumbing in here. We've talked about as you increase or decrease whatever you need in that account, the money from that is coming from ARPA. So I can decrease ARPA, just decrease those two.
Okay, so $50,000 extra to pay for the building maintenance and capital improvements?
Right, so like for instance, mention the infrastructure improvements. That's part of that. That's what that capital cost is.
Infrastructure, like road,
No, I'm talking about water, sewer.
stormwater, such.
Well, it could be for stormwater, but I'm talking about water, sewer upgrade. Remember we talked about last October?
Yeah, that's the capital improvements line?
Yes. When you do roads or stormwater projects, you use your $25 fee, which you've got $147,000 in an account that Spartanburg County has for you. And then CTC matches it, I believe it's dollar for dollar on that. If you wanted to do more, CTC would match more. Trash cans, I dropped it down to 2,000. We don't have a lot of people coming in to buy new trash cans. Set off debt.
That's the monies from the bond forfeitures that hadn't been paid. We take it out of their taxes, from their taxes, income taxes. The municipal association does this. Municipal association.
And the last thing on building is for revenue is building permits.
I think we should look at that one. Pretty good. That looks like, so the 23, you said it's 3,000 to date as of May?
I did that based off of, I have to look and see if it was based on like a 1.5 months. I'll show you where the math came from with that. No, I completely agree, because especially since we haven't gone for a full year, I hate putting a really high number on there. I'm going to be conservative on that. But let me, ma'am?
I mean, how many building permits have we done this year? I know you said 3,000. I mean, I know of some of those, but it doesn't equal 3,000.
No, we've got some house building now too.
That's coming in.
It's coming in. Enchanted's building. Enchanted homes. I'm sorry.
So they, Enchanted has 8 more lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're commercial projects that are coming up. But between now and the next workshop, I can show where that number came from. I promise you, it wasn't just,
You know, the expenses, anybody any questions on the expenses, and go down, go one by one, or what? Anybody got any?
that's the one I'm looking at increasing to 6,000, if y'all are looking at that. I just
Natural
don't-
gas.
Which one?
Natural gas.
Natural gas.
Natural gas.
Yeah, that's the one we were already talking about.
You want to go up with what now, 6,000?
I'd like to do 6,000 on there, just so we don't go over budget, where we're currently there right now, and they're already planning for a 5% increase.
Yeah.
Is the electricity going up too?
It's pretty much,
It's stayed the same.
it's staying the same.
Yeah, we're not
We
using-
don't have an increase with Lockhart, I don't know about you.
Yeah, there's no increase next year from Lockhart.
I don't think Duke either.
What all buildings do we pay electricity on? I know like the cloth room, this one, police. We don't pay power here.
We pay the water. No, we do pay power over there. We do.
Where?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We pay the power at the post office. It's not mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's our building.
that's part of the agreement anyway, right? What about like the armory? Do we pay?
We don't pay it.
They pay their own.
They don't pay their own.
No, I mean the building.
Oh, the other one we do.
Okay, yeah. And water. Okay. Advertise.
We're skipping down advertising.
Yeah. Unless anybody has
We
objections.
skipped over phone,
What now?
the phone, telephone.
They're all saying the same.
When you say about advertising,
I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, I understand the necessity for advertising to raise, when we talked about the retreat, I mean, even advertising, we have Pumpkin Sewer already. But nobody knows it's here.
Right,
That's what we're talking about.
that potentially could be there. It would be, I mean, I really foresee that once you have that master plan done, that you're gonna wanna tell people that you've got a master plan, this is what the concepts, this is what the kind of thing we wanna see in our community, and kind of promote that, so.
Can you tell me, when you said you were trying to advertise with one Spartanburg, what was the cost associated with that?
I have to look back and see. They have like a new visitor guide, and we just have a little section in there.
Mm-hmm. And when do you think the Compton master plan will be finished? Do you have any idea?
A year from it's starting, so actually some of them will be done earlier than that. I would imagine that you're gonna have everything done around January, February, March kind of thing.
So we're gonna wait to advertise until after it's done.
Well, I think you still have some other opportunities. There's stuff with, you know, with one Spartanburg, with Croft State Park. When I only have $500 in there, I would look for anything else.
Right. I just wanna make sure, I mean, if we're gonna spend that amount of money, we have some kind of plan.
Oh, and I have no problem putting together a list of some potential stuff that would be useful. I completely agree with that.
But where did that number come from already? When you had to have something already for the 5,000?
So it is an estimate on there, but it would be coming directly from the monies that would come in for hospitality tax.
yeah.
It's 5,000.
So I'm confused. You're taking money from the hospitality tax and advertising it with, is that what you're doing?
The hospitality tax is a revenue
Yeah.
that we get,
Yes, up here, it's budgeted at 20.
yeah, 20,000 for hospitality tax.
Okay.
So there's 5,000 for advertising, 10,000 for Christmas lights, and 10,000 for a festival. You know what he said?
Yes. So it's making sure, I think in the past, it's been counted as a revenue, but not necessarily where it's going to. And I want to make sure that we're following the law on that it's going to what it's supposed to go to.
So those three is 25,000, which is more than what the hospitality tax is, so we'll use the entire hospitality tax for those who chip in extra.
Let me look back and see where, I may have made an error, but let me, there's a
State
place.
hospitality is consistently higher than actual.
Yeah, but he's right, with 20,000, he needs to kind of match up on there. So, let me look back and see what I missed on that.
The festival, you know, the sponsors and things like that, that's part of the money used for the festival, right?
Yes. Ideally, it should be, and like I mentioned before, cost neutral. It should be what you bring in sponsorships is what you have. But last year, that was not the case.
Right.
And so it's that money in here is, I kind of have it as a backup. I prefer not to use it.
Just in case money.
Yeah. were talking about
Yeah, but-
the travel and, I'm sorry, Christmas Lights Festival and the advertising.
It's 25, which is 5 more than what's
Yeah,
down.
he said he's gonna look at that, and those 3 items.
You got kind of a late start. The Riverfest planning was a little chaotic last year. So, and you've already started organizing for next year. It should be a lot better. As far as
So the figures and stuff, pay a fee. And some of these things,
We
we
think,
have that money.
yeah, that money will go for like bands and like advertising on the radio that's happening. And, like even, like if I don't know if we have to pay Spartanburg for the stage, I'm not really sure if we pay Parks and Rec. We do.
No.
No,
The stage is paid for by Pacolet Mills
Okay,
from a long time ago.
gotcha,
It's the foundation.
okay.
But one thing that's not happening this year is they are not covering the cost of the porta potties,
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
which is gonna be a big hit to our budget. The other thing is, Mega Rock Challenge is now charging us, if we want to use them. In the past, they have come out here, they've charged ticket sales. Their ticket sales were not as good as they were last year, or have been in the past. And so now they're saying, if you want us to come out, it's $5,000. Which I am not interested in. I'm trying to find some other options.
Petting's in the key.
downtown.
The petting's in the never showed up. I don't think it ever showed up there. Do you have any plans for the 25,000 building maintenance?
At this time, no, but I don't think Trey knew exactly what he was gonna have for building maintenance, and we've already had a lot so far. At some point, it'd be worthwhile for us to get some type of paint job done on the interior of the space. I think it'd be worthwhile upgrading the plumbing. I'm not sure if you know this, but you can only flush one of the restrooms once. They have to wait 45 minutes to flush again. There may be some need to renovate this space at some point. It's just a little,
I think the plumbing alone is gonna be more than 25. I don't know actually the costs, but there's a great deal of, most of the water lines are galvanized pipe that I see white rusting on the outside. Most of that needs to be taken out and fixed out.
And building maintenance also includes police department.
that's right.
It includes the police department also.
So there may be a reason to increase it. And then,
We know that these things are gonna happen. I'm sure plumbing needs to be changed. Maybe try to get a better idea of what that's gonna cost. What do you think, man? We've been talking about plumbing for a couple, 3 years now, so. Even when Bob was here, we saw the white rust on all the pipes.
on my first visit, he took me on a tour downstairs, and that was all those little spots that were on the.
If you see it on the outside, it's already happening.
While we're speaking to that, your plumbing and all, we need to take care of the plumbing, we need to get some estimates or something, take care of the plumbing up there at the police department when that hot water heater.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get, where insurance is gonna, go ahead and do it, then but insurance is gonna cover the cost.
With that too, the building that the sanitation guys use, their bathroom doesn't work. If it rains, you can't flush the toilet there. So I don't know if that's sewer or septic, I'm not real sure, but they have no facilities.
It should be on sewer.
Um,
It should be sewer.
yeah. I don't know if it was good state, but I think we should.
There could be upgrades on that down there, and it's very prison-like.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've talked about with Travis, and this may be an option, is, I'd love to be able to provide some type of washing facilities down there. He currently takes his stuff home and then washes it in his own washing machine. Those clothes are filthy.
That's nasty. I wouldn't take that from most miles.
And so, we could probably get a washer and dryer and put down there and provide better service for that. Or send it off to like Cintas or something.
That made that number go up considerably, just that little conversation we had. But I want to plan to fix these things because, like the medical building that we had, I mean, it pretty much just fell apart because
We didn't look at it, and we took a hit, selling it, I mean, you know, we sold it for nothing almost.
less than half of
Mhm.
And this building over here, I don't know if we've looked at getting the windows fixed and things like that, the whole upstairs.
And at some point, you know, you wonder, will they ever just take it away? But we've signed a new lease, so for another year. Well, more than that, yeah.
We did just put a roof on this building, didn't we?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and we did some inside work.
The flooring. Alex, the flooring.
Yeah, we had to fix it down. We might need to put an air conditioner unit in
Here, or,
there. You couldn't see it, but it's there.
okay,
It's inside the bonds.
okay. Has he, I haven't checked it today, but he was gonna do it this week.
Yeah, the lines are still on the corner over there.
Okay.
Okay.
Christmas lights. This is, so, before even coming to this community, I've heard from many people who know about Pacolet that the Christmas display was a big deal in this community. And a lot of the stuff has deteriorated, some of it's in really awful shape. And this is just seed money to put in there to start building that supply of Christmas decorations back up.
That's really only 7,000 extra because the 3,000 is paid for the electricity, right? The town pays the electric bill.
7,000.
You got 10,000 on
He's got
that, 3,000.
We got 3,000, what do we have to pay for the power? It's not that much.
Yeah, I like to
So
say
it doesn't
this.
actually go to 3,000. It doesn't actually go to 3,000. So I just know that part of that money was gonna be for the power.
Not just a lot to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to see us get some, you know, I know they're expensive, they're very expensive, you know, the street lights, you know, on those little
Snowflakes.
snowflakes, it has on the work out from home.
So what we're looking at is the streetlights that were in the past are in bad shape. And so what I'd like to do, because if you buy new ones, they're anywhere between $300 and $600 a piece. Don't want to do that. Is strip off the existing ones of their light bulbs because they have incandescent on there now and rewire them with LED and possibly even spray paint them white after we strip everything off there, which in my opinion would be a lot less money than buying brand new units.
No, the LED lights are just basically be zip tied on. You just buy strand lights and then you just,
Let me pretty.
it's the same thing that's already on.
So you currently have incandescent string lights that are on there that are taped on there with white electrical
See
tape.
that close.
So you got them zoom it, not like that, you know.
Yeah, it's a string light anyway that's on there. So you just take the old bulbs off and then you put the LED string back on. I think it's a great idea.
And, you know,
What's that?
Most of the power poles.
if you look, I don't think there's any it looks simple. You know, down in Union, they had the thing, you know, on the line of the streets down there, that, the little, trees and things like that, and it looks simple, but it's pretty, you know. It's, you know, I don't know how much it costs, you know, we need to look at, you know, a lot of the decorations, you know, just the lights and the decorations too.
It was really rough going through what we had.
It probably we need to start right now.
There wasn't anything really great.
There's some sad stuff. Needs to be retired.
Just one.
Do we think this number is gonna be
Would
adequate?
this be for Main Street too? I mean, not
That's what I
Main
said,
Street,
yeah.
There's,
Dollar General, down that, further.
Yeah.
the only thing is, and this is up to y'all, if we could put more in there, those displays, if you start getting those LED displays that you normally see in parks and stuff, that have like the throwing snowman and all that kind of stuff, those are not cheap. Those are $600, $800 up to several $1,000s.
Maybe we could start with this, start building up over the next several years with a good, strong budget on Christmas and get back to where we should have been in 3 or 4 years.
One thing that could be done is, see if we can get sponsorships. And I know in some communities like Lions Club or the Rotary Club will sponsor something, they cover the cost, they decorate stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Milliken might be the best Christmas light.
Looking at like investment. They just don't.
They need to.
They do. They really.
The insurance.
All right.
Yeah, people like acknowledgement, that's what that is. People like acknowledgement. So,
Because it is
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Is that because of all the,
Organizations decorate a certain art, then they get
That's
that time of the
You know, like maybe those communities in Edwards Center would get together and do a pretty little thing. That's-
Where hotels, with the hotel parking lot is before.
We went up.
The staircases.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe ask them to clear that, all the brush. It's a good concrete pad, you can put a big display right there. Maybe ask them to put something together, you know.
We maybe ask the library if they'll decorate their own stuff. You know, if everybody put just a little decoration.
yes.
Sorry. What April was talking about is maybe asking Milliken to put a display, or, you know, like up here on the corner where the concrete is, maybe clean that up and
We know what there was.
put a good Christmas display up there or something. I know,
They don't never contribute? Or
They've never offered.
sponsorship?
They've never offered.
but we've never asked you. So maybe ask Jennifer, is Jennifer? Yeah.
Jennifer.
Talk with her, she might think it's a great idea.
Maybe sponsor.
I'll do the best that I can. I still haven't heard from her since comp plan.
All right. Cool. What else on the expense? Anybody got any questions? More questions on expense?
What's the dues? There's a new line item, the dues.
The dues is currently for me to, go to Rotary, for Rotary annual dues up there.
The rotary fees,
Yes,
is that part of your contract?
that is.
He networks up there. He networks.
You're welcome to come with me if you'd like. Ned has been there.
We need to decide on the railroad, please. The railroad.
This is something that we need to discuss. This was something that was discussed, the railroad lease on here is something that was discussed last year, and it was also discussed in the retreat. We try to do, you all still want to try to move forward with a feasibility study on this, try to find some grant money to be able to do that, or,
Yeah,
okay.
I think pursuing grants first, there's got to be some out there for,
Do we want to pay the lease though for railroad?
oh, yeah.
We're paying
No more than that.
$350.
This was something that, if you'll notice on the ADT security, I put a plus beside there. That was my little reference on there. I'm looking at having, so right now, we just, in terms of security, in terms of the building, we have a punch code back here. We have the motion sensor behind you, and then sensors on the doors. What I'd like to do is add on for ADT smoke and carbon dioxide. There are currently no smoke or carbon dioxide detectors in this building. What
The cameras that I thought we had that were working, who was that? Is that not ADT? I thought, well, the camera's not working.
It's an Arlo system.
That one doesn't work anymore,
Yeah.
so.
it didn't work when I first got here.
Yeah,
Were you able to log into it?
We couldn't get, Wesley couldn't get into it.
So what is the ADT?
ADT, we currently pay, they have a service in terms of if someone breaks in or if a sensor goes off, then it immediately calls the
Yeah.
So
police.
it's just sensors, no cameras?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to get clear.
Didn't we pay for the cameras at one time, when, the other chief was here? I mean, he was gonna have all that done.
We allowed the department to have the money, but they never spent it. They never actually bought it.
They never did.
Okay. All right. And you would, okay, I didn't know who it was, I know we didn't get it, I didn't know who it was spending.
Which I don't know if this is a place to bring it up, but where are we at already on getting the security of the cameras that we've been talking about for a long time?
That's what they were talking about.
For like a whole year or longer.
So part of that is we talked about doing renovations on this building, possibly making this court and council. And so if we're gonna move forward with that, that could update things. I did get some preliminary cost from Sonatrol, and I need to send that to y'all. And it's extremely expensive, so we kind of need to see if we want to scale back some of that stuff. ADT does offer some of that stuff that we may consider. The company that Wesley was proposing in the network system, Unify, Ubiquity Systems, they have a camera system. I used to have it on my house, and it's phenomenal. And it can be set up on your phone. It records. I had an 8 terabyte system on there. That is an option. So that could be added on after the network's done, and then it's not an annual fee on there, and you're still paying for a fee for the break-ins.
So you talking about adding that, how much you thinking about adding, you know, about how, an estimate?
Maybe you can get with ADT before next.
I'll get with ADT. I mean, ADT, I didn't put anything on there because I'm still kind of looking around on that. Especially because since we talked about cameras and everything else being part of that whole system, I didn't put anything on there for you. But just want to let you know that it's something that's in the back of my head. Actually, it's in front of me, but it's something I'm thinking about.
Okay.
But I'll come back to that.
So is the ADT overlay that you can look at, is that gonna be separate? Is that just gonna be like for cameras and sensors and all that, and as far as the security?
It's all to be determined. So as of right now, I've left it the way it has been. So it's currently $600 a year, and that's for the monitoring of the sensors in this building. Anything else, I will bring to y'all first to make a proposal on there. I'm not there yet. I don't want to give you numbers that are not entirely done. If y'all are interested in doing all that kind of stuff, I can get better numbers on that sort of thing between now and maybe next. It's just, I'm not getting a lot of information. Sonatrol was the only one who really came in on some numbers on there. In terms of doing a camera system, I think it'd be much better if we do a closed circuit or do a camera system ourselves that we can go back and look in terms of on the hard drive. And then keep that separate from ADT, which would still be monitoring the smoke detectors, fire alarm, and carbon monoxide. And as soon as they would detect it, it would automatically call the police.
Because I know, I mean, like you say, you know, the security cameras you can get, that people would get just for the homes, just for the use of what we would need to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten, so the ones that I have at my house, that work with the Unify system that, Wesley's looking to put in, I spent around $1,000 to $2,000. Now, there would be additional labor cost here because you're gonna be running, Cat 6 lines to every single one of the cameras up through the attic. But that is a possibility that we can look at. Wesley may be able to give us a cost on that if that's what you want.
Well, I think we need, I think we're the only municipality that
Well-
doesn't have security cameras within
I
their.
had security cameras over here at the Methodist Church, which have been better off too.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were working, yeah. So,
I think we
But I'll talk to Wesley and see about getting a quote on a compatible system to the network he proposed.
okay, anything else on expenses? Anybody?
Just admin,
The annual vehicle fee. So in my contract, the town currently pays $400 a month that covers the cost of me using my personal vehicle for work-related trips.
and how do you arrive in number?
It's $400 a month, and that was what was put in the, my contract when I first got here.
The contract was pretty much right. Never signed it.
We never saw it, I didn't see it,
None of us,
no.
just never tracked. Sorry.
That makes the big thing.
All right. Court.
Yeah, that is the treasurer's amount will go down.
See, that SC treasurer amount is, so when they get in, bond forfeitures or, tickets and all that kind of stuff, fines, a portion of that goes back to the state, which is the SC treasurer number. So as you bring the number down from that, 125 down to 75, this will also, decrease in correlation.
Could be bringing 40,000.
Sanitation, probably.
I don't think it'd be long.
What I'll do is I'll take whatever the percentage is that we took down and take it down to 7%.
You got something on sanitation?
No.
Anybody? Okay. On the proposed street department?
Any questions?
I mean,
Go ahead. I just wonder how we come up with all this, you tell us, how we arrive at this figure.
So I base it a lot off of what we're currently paying for salaries for sanitation, in terms of the retirement insurance, all that stuff. Once I kind of got a number of where approximately that it would be, then I had Tony figure out what the retirement insurance workers' comp would all be as well.
How many employees you talking about?
Looking at 2 employees, it'd be 1 foreman and 1 helper. Looking at, it would be, you know, as I mentioned later on, the purchasing would be 2 lawnmowers, commercial lawnmowers, weed eaters, blowers, all that kind of stuff for full-on landscaping department. But our landscaping only works a certain amount of time. That gives them time to be able to do other things throughout the rest of the community. And it also gives Travis and Mike the ability to take a week off, especially, so what I'm proposing on here is that the person we end up hiring ends up having a CDL Class B to be able to cover a week for Travis if he wants to take a week off, and the town still gets trash kept out.
Do we have a line item for the equipment?
I didn't put a lot of them in here for equipment. What I had on there at the very last end of the proposal or the comment section there was that I gave them roughly about $50,000 that would be purchased in this current fiscal year to cover that, or I can put it in the next fiscal year. It's up to y'all. I figured that you probably want to have a lot of that stuff on hand first before you end up having your crew start in July, as your landscaping current contract ends in June.
Why couldn't it be just that I know that their contract is up, because I know this last people we have has not been doing very well. I don't see the need for hiring 2 people and getting all this where we can, whenever we get like a new contractor, have them do it. Just add it into what we pay them and do more than what it is for the 42 right now.
That's your option. This was something that was brought up at the retreat, and
What Alan used to do is, it was Heath. Heath. Alan used to call Heath and say, hey, we got some trees we want to cut down. He would set a price, liked it, he'd go cut the trees. If there was something that needed to be, like back here, he cleaned up behind the upstairs, I think, took him a day or something, he was a cost. So it's kind of like an add-on to his contract. So at any point in time, if there's a need for something, or if we want to, clean up something, we can ask that company or that contractor for add-ons, to just do some extra work. And I think that keeps the cost, where we need it. So, like having a subcontractor, we know exactly what we're going to pay. And then if we need extra things done, we can. But having a whole street department, my issue is what are they going to do in the wintertime? When grass isn't growing, there's not much to cut. You can only cut so many tree roots and things like that. I think it's too much to have for the size of the town. And I think that's the whole reason they got rid of it. How many years ago? Mike used to be on the landscaping crew. And at one point in time, they had trouble even finding help in the police department. Used to cut the grass, and it became a nightmare. And that's why we subcontracted it out.
we're currently several months behind in wood chipping. That would be another thing they would also take on as well.
Yeah, and I think we could easily ask our subcontractor to pick up some of that wood chipping as well. I mean, there's no limit to what we can ask our contract person to do, quarterly cleanup or, something. If we build the contract the way we want it, we can include all of these items in there and just get a price, and if we have insurance on the truck and chipper, so if our contractor, if we ask them to use our truck and chipper, I think we're perfectly allowed to do that. They have their own general liability, and so if they use our equipment, we're only worried if it's torn up or something of that sort. So I think it's feasible to find a contractor that's willing to do that as well, pick up limbs if we're behind. So during the week when the trash guys are operating, they can also be out picking up limbs. And as long as we, come to an agreement ahead of time what that contract should look like, I think that's it's easier to just keep it that way. And less liability too, you know?
Kind of like the idea of working towards a public works department. I mean, the trash pickup, there's so many things they could do. Not just trash pickup, but like litter pickup. I mean, the town, it'd be great if they ran out of work. I don't know how many years it would take for that to happen, but there's.
I don't think you're ever gonna run it. I mean, there's stuff that can be cleaned up at the amphitheater, there's stuff that
Yeah,
can be cleaned up
like
every.
full-time.
One other thing you mentioned in there was, having another CDL, driver, with, the sanitation department, they could take it with, if Travis is out sick or vacation or whatever, we gonna have to address that sooner or later. I know he's been pretty steady, but I mean, it's gonna happen. We're gonna be without him.
He's been really good to the town, and at least as long as I've been here, he's never taken a week off. He should be able to take a week off. He currently, with his longevity that he's been here, he gets 4 weeks, paid vacation. And I'd like for him to be able to take a week off in the summertime, the wintertime, whatever.
That's what I was thinking too, the next position, just have the same.
What?
Mike will be retiring soon,
Yeah.
so fill that position with a CDL driver, so they both can drive. And easily call a temp service for the day or two, if one of them takes vacation. I think both people on that truck should have a CDL, that way either one of them can drive at any point in time. And I think that would fix that issue pretty quickly. I don't know when Mike's plans to retire.
I mean, he's getting there.
Yeah, and one guy can run a chipper truck. That's not a big deal. You pull the truck up, you walk over, you got lunch, you throw it in there, and you're good. So.
And we've hired a subcontractor too to clean up on the limbs. I think we probably would have, or should have already done that. Anyway.
I think we gain a lot of efficiencies having like a dedicated department in the crossover, the help out. So Travis on vacation, I think that all makes great sense.
And
I
me personally, I don't want to have people that work for the town walk around picking up trash. I mean, there's a lot of other ways to have trash picked up. I hate to say that we're just gonna have employees that's part of their job is to pick up trash. East Spartanburg leadership, when you went to the Spartanburg leadership thing, they were talking about having a lot of different ways to get trash picked up. I think, what was it?
They had, people getting over, addiction or whatever,
Back to work program.
back to work programs and all.
Well, we used to get, the prisons used to come out.
We have to have supervision, we have to have supervision for them, to do that,
But did they ever bring their own?
What?
When Mike
We might check into it, we check into it.
Yeah, because I know Mike had him out here, gosh, on and off several times. I don't know.
We were like severely understaffed with,
Supervisor, I think they were on supervisor comes with them.
We can look into it,
we were pretty understaffed with like Christmas decor. I mean, just to have some, I don't know what happened with the landscaping contract. Maybe there was a miscommunication as to whether they were supposed to help with that. If we had dedicated full-time guys, I mean, there's so many things to do.
If you'd like, I can put together a proposed, job description for that position over there. And you'll have to review it the next meeting.
I just don't think the town is big enough, and as Jason said, what are you gonna do in the winter time?
The other towns,
Calpens has one.
Calkins has.
How many guys?
They have 2 guys. A lot of their stuff is chipper.
How big is Calhoun's? You know, we're always constantly saying, Inman has one, Calhoun's has one, so-and-so has one.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a tad, not much. They're about the same, we're about the same as
Is
Calhoun.
Calhoun's?
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, my concern also would be like, who's gonna manage these people? You know, it'll have to be completely, you know, like guided, a daily guide, you know, that kind of thing. I mean,
You're looking at. The town of Cowpens, I'm seeing 2,162 people, which is less than Pacolet. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2,065 as of the 2021 census, which the town of Pacolet is around 2,200, 2,300, so it's actually smaller.
We're real close.
How long have they had that department? Is it going well?
I don't know,
Is it
it's,
new?
no, it's not new, it's been going on for a while. But I can find out how long they've had it.
Just more information on that when we get back with it, address it again.
Whatever the case, I think something needs to happen. The town was horrible.
Well, and I understand that, but that's staying behind the people that we already have that's not doing their job. You know, that's why we need to get someone new. And is there a contract?
like I said, the contractor we already use can be paid to do anything. I mean, if Patrick sees a spot that's overgrown or something, that's it's very easy to say, hey, landscape contractor, give us a price to clean this up, and no problem.
It just, with the only thing, the main thing that I'm concerned about is once you create the contract, if you don't, it's always, well, that's not part of the contract.
Right, that's why it's an add-on.
Yeah.
You know, if the verbiage in the contract needs to say, be willing to have additional items added to the contract periodically as needed. You know, the alley needs to be cleaned up or something of that sort, see if they're able, if they have time. It's, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, like Keith used to, when, I can't remember, his peanut building. He cut all the trees off that, drawn over the peanut building, went up there and he cut them all down, and got them all up. He was like $1,700.
Well, and then some of these highways aren't even Packlets anyway, they're state roads, the county is responsible for. Now, all these roads in Packlet are.
Have you seen anybody who's paid anything in there?
Has anybody
You
contacted?
got it.
According to the county, once the town annexes those roads into the city, they become city. They're either state roads or they're city roads.
I've called DOT to do cutting on.
That's coming from Cole Alverson, the county administrator.
On state roads, and they do a pretty crappy job. They'll like do it, but it's like you have to do it again.
Well,
Sunny Acres.
we hadn't called to see what kind of job they would do.
Well,
We can put a pin in this and come back to it. We want
yeah,
to
let's
decide
look
right
at it,
now.
and, we can discuss all this, and we can go ahead and get, this whole thing done, and then we look at this, and you bring some more information back. Yeah.
Maybe that should be part of the conversation.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. And street lights, I guess, we're pretty much the same. And, police department.
Oh, street
Oh, I'm
lights.
sorry.
No, just to say, I know when Miss Allen was here, there was a number that you could call that if you saw any of the street lights that were purple, they would come out and fix them, because there's still several
Yeah.
out there that are purple. And they would come out and replace them. I don't remember who it was, but I think we need to call them.
You don't like purple lights?
Do you know where the lighting is? Do you know where the lighting is?
What's that?
There was-
Yeah, we actually posted on our Facebook page that, we have the Lockhart power number, if it's in the Lockhart area, which is basically just the Packard Mills. And then Duke Energy is extremely easy to go online and post those. We've sent that out on Facebook to let people know, but we can send it out.
There's one up there in,
Put it on the town website.
Okay.
you can put the county gives sheriff's there is always in person.
Yeah, and there's one going up, I think, I don't know, there might be 150 there.
Yeah,
And then I know I've seen some in some people's yard.
yeah.
But maybe a lot of these people don't have like a Facebook.
But I don't know, where you change it, you know, I don't even know it.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website to let people know. But what the other thing is anybody in the community, I mean, I can go drive out there and if I see things that are out or flickering or turning purple, I can post them and do that. So if y'all see some of those things, you can just call and tell me or just send me an email, hey, check out this address.
I got a couple of questions on the police department. I know he had asked us in general conversation, he had asked us about his concern about extended cost of equipment. Chief, looking at these numbers, is that this is appropriate for your department or?
I asked that we be moderate in what we wanted to do because I haven't been here a year yet. I haven't gone through a full budget cycle. And any number we come up with, we're guessing.
Right, yeah.
So to that end, I'm comfortable with what we have, so long as everyone here understands, the point I'm trying to make a couple of times in that, still quarterly, I'm still having, like ammunition pay, just so you know, the ammunition manufacturer is probably 9% increase before October, just different things like that keep popping up. That's really difficult to look at these numbers and understand exactly what's the magic number that we're not going to go with. As long as council understands that anything that comes up, we'll document and explain to you why the increase happened. There are a couple aspects of what we need equipment-wise that are specific to our circumstance and that we're reviewing the department. And that there are things that we're going to spend a significant amount of money over the course of the summer that we won't spend money on next summer. For example, much more ammunition, things like that, and bringing new officers on and getting them up to the level that we need to be operational. So we went modest here. I didn't want any kind of sticker shock, and again, because if I went anything above this, it would just be a guess. And if council understands that those difficulties that we're facing, they're probably no different than in the commercial business. I'm comfortable with what we have.
What line item that I'm looking at here is code enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Under the police department?
I can take it out.
But I mean, I'm just wanting to know why that's under the police department.
It has traditionally been under the police department.
So just normally there.
I can take it out. So one thing I wanted y'all to know is, I've created a budget a long time ago, and I took stuff out of different budgets and put it in something that made more sense to me. So like, for instance, there was a public works budget that includes street, sanitation, grass cutting, everything under one thing, because it just makes sense. It didn't make sense that code enforcement's under the police department, and so I would rather us have a zoning subcategory that's like a building codes, zoning, whatever, that incorporates your miscellaneous property demos and your code enforcement. So I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, so this is just me thinking. I would like for the police department to do more of the code enforcement and not use RCI to do it. Right now, he has several officers that are not certified, that are town employees. We are paying. I think because they're town employees, they aren't allowed to do code enforcement. If you're okay with it, of course. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to throw that on you, but I mean, we're going to pay RCI to do something that our own employees that we're already paying can do. And we're not talking about building codes or anything of that sort. I'm saying tall grass, car in the road, these kinds of things. These employees that are on payroll right now can be doing this, and we don't have any extra costs.
So another confusion we had is my concern in the past. We've had conversations about that. When you say code enforcement to me, where I'm from, I'm thinking electrical and plumbing.
Right, that's
I know that's not what
yeah.
you mean. All of those things that would be appropriate for somebody riding around and seeing issues, absolutely.
And they don't have to be a certified officer, they just need to be an employee in town. Our ordinances, that's all they say, they have to be an employee in town to do so. So I think we should look at maybe the police department taking on some of those roles, especially when we have officers that are uncertified waiting. That's a perfect thing for them to do, is to do this, you know. And if they need an officer with them, fine. If they don't, I think they're perfectly capable of doing so. So I think there should be some sort of budget for that, so that maybe have some kind of standard, whatever, you know, notification, sticker on the door, whatever you guys propose would be fine with me, but I would like to see our department.
Well, you can work with RCI and, what they been doing in, incorporating hours, if we do the same thing,
Yeah.
And it helps out because one of the things we have run into is you mail somebody a fine or a violation, and we don't know if they've received it. And so a lot of times what's great is if they're going out there and delivering it, they've got a camera on them, they can, here is the person taking it, we have it on file.
Exactly the point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when Michael Berry, when I asked him about this, he did tell me that he preferred a police officer with him when he would actually do these violations, which
Well, you
they're
could
paying an
find-
officer to be there anyway.
Well, you
So,
couldn't write a ticket anyway, because he wasn't employed.
yeah, he was never employed in town, so he actually couldn't ever write a violation.
Because that's why everything, I kept wondering why, because on their contract, it said after so many days they do this, and then this, and then some of them do it, and then they find them. But all I kept seeing on his chart was send a letter, he sent a letter, he sent a letter, and then he sent another letter. There was never a
Part of the issue that he ran into was that when we had the conversation with Mr. Frost, was the due diligence side of things. Is making sure the person actually got the letter. And that became difficult. And making sure that, say for instance, you're out of the country for 2 or 3 months, 5 months, whatever. It shouldn't just be we send you a letter and you don't respond, all of a sudden we're gonna start finding you. So it's making sure that we actually got to a person, and so that works with making sure there's a camera on them.
Do you think that with the budget, do you think there's need for any extensions on any item, if that's something that you're gonna take on?
Nothing really jumps out in my head, just thinking
Gas,
about it,
I mean, that's pretty much gonna be the same.
barely noticeable,
Yeah.
because they're supposed to be out there anyways, you know what I mean? So,
And people were saying,
Yeah,
visible.
seeing them a lot more.
So we're looking at potentially decreasing that, since there's a.
Yeah, that code enforcement, I would like to decrease that a considerable amount. I don't know that maybe consulting RCI with a difficult property might be feasible, so maybe leave some money in there for that. If you need to know the process, like if you guys get into a situation where it's like, you might need their help consulting with the fire. I understand that, so maybe leave a little bit on there.
Well, let me ask you this, would you, because it seems like that RCI can make the initial kind of like, it's notified that it's there, I'll send you the letter, and then if nothing's happened, then pass it off.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
I'm not saying I want to take all responsibility away from RCI, but yes, I am. What I'm saying is I think as maybe just use RCI to do the building codes and stuff like that. Because these letters and stuff like that, we pay for these letters. And I think it's just as feasible for the police department. We'll get the same end result if the police officers are handling. And, if we can't really do a whole lot right now, as part of our system is down, we can't even see who owns what anymore. But I think we'll get the same end result, if not better, if our officers handle that side of it. The majority. And if needed, maybe RCI can be there with a smaller budget.
I'll look at this as a guide for the research aspect of it.
Right,
That's all I can see then.
Right.
What I was just meaning was just like the clerical side, is that still, you want that to be a police department thing?
the clerical side of.
Getting the letters, drafting the letters, sending the letters out, postage, putting certified stuff.
I think we should have a standard blanket letter that covers most everything, and then you just need to fill in what violation is.
Okay.
Just a good standard blanket violation, and just fill in exactly what the violation is. So it's exactly the same no matter what. And it's really not really simple, but of course. you know.
Tony was just saying that, that could be something great for, April to do.
Right, yeah,
We both of them.
Well, does she
you've done it before, so I mean,
Does
that's,
she not use that in the police department, is it on here? Does she not do like in the police department?
for now here. No, yeah, they haven't had any court yet.
First date's June
Yeah, so
8th.
hasn't had court yet. So,
April.
We didn't show up, right?
Well, technically, we had court this month.
We talked about court, we gonna redo that courthouse up there, move it down here, or whatever, we need to address that.
that was what he was talking about with the building
Yeah.
fund, and
Right.
not capital improvement, but the building maintenance. He's gonna put some numbers together for us so we know kind of like an idea of where we're gonna be, because I think the building maintenance fund should be a lot bigger than what we have on.
You and I had spoken about this before, and I still want to get together, and I'm not sure if y'all want to do a rendering like you did on the court over there, but to kind of get an idea. I'm still trying to figure out how to make this court, and still be able to, on a daily basis, have people come in and out for,
Yeah.
I think it would be feasible to like along that wall, so we don't have to move any posts.
and that's the concern I've got, is, you know, once you get it all up, is it gonna be an issue for y'all that, I mean, you got a great open space here.
I'd rather not put a wall because it changes everything. I know Tony doesn't want to put a wall in here, because if I say that, she's probably gonna hit me. So I think this is a new council chamber in a straight line instead of this U shape. But just a straight line, so we want an elevator for the mayor, which would be the judge, clerk on one side, that kind of deal, just a straight cabinet over there, which looks out, the chairs can be all through here and still have the path, the wall.
If you can,
There or over here, either one.
Yeah, well, if you put it over here, then people walk in
Yeah.
and goes through everything.
Yeah, I can deal with
the only problem is if you end up putting over here, you right now, all of your bathrooms are all on this
I
side.
understand that, but over here, what can be done is like from the corner of the bench, have like a rope thing where the judge can go and use maybe your office for the time being to prepare.
Right.
And then this, since it's hardly ever used, could quite possibly be where because I know before the concern was the officers were taking people to the equipment room and holding them when the judge, you know, something of that sort.
Well,
So there was a holding room necessity, so it's possible that this room over here could be used as a holding room.
Right, our judge doesn't want to give people the opportunity to walk out without making some sort of financial contribution to what their fine is, so she sends them to the other room to get on the phone.
Yeah.
and help people to get money. It's much-
Yeah, and I think that this building would be appropriate for that, you know, just in here, you know, that kind of deal. We could probably figure out a way to make it work.
Could they remodel that bathroom, or is there just no possible?
Tony doesn't want to remodel that bathroom.
Well, no, I don't mind you remodeling.
It's a storage building right now.
Yeah, it's
All right.
if it's the ceiling.
Eliminate.
He gonna get some information on that, and we'll have to figure it all out.
You guys sketching something out? I've got plans of what this, we're drawing out for this building, I can get those to you if you want.
All right. Anything else? Anybody have anything else?
You are the project demos,
I would like to add a couple line items under zoning,
okay?
planning, commission, budget, and appeals board budget. There needs to be a budget for these two. I don't know exactly what they need to be, but there should be a budget. We need to establish at least a budget, so.
For a lot of it's like advertising stuff, so if we're like for the
Signage.
for the signage,
Yeah.
and we've just been covering under our general cost.
Right. I just would like to see a budget for it, that's all.
Okay.
That way we know. And so with that budget, there should be revenue, so that's why I say like the fee schedule for all things. So there doesn't need to be we don't need to put a revenue line item just yet, but I think there should be a budget line item for those two.
Well, like, so under building permits, I can put in like a fee schedule income.
I mean, under the zoning thing,
Do you want to separate it? The only thing is typically you have all your revenues in one location.
yeah, I'm saying we don't need to put a revenue in there.
Okay.
Well, I'm not asking to put a revenue, but I would like to have a budget line item to know that we actually do have a budget. The ordinances say that there needs to be a budget approved by council.
Right, so we were talking about like a fee schedule, so when someone fills out an application, like $100 per, or $100 fee for that.
An application fee for you, whatever, you know what I'm saying, any kind of.
Or rezoning or
zoning,
yeah,
there should be an
because of the costs that are
application.
associated with it.
I got you.
When you made your building permit?
That's different, building permits are different. What I'm talking about is like, if like for the car lots, saying on 150.
Right.
They had an application, but paid no fee for the application, so the town is basically covering the cost of all the changes, when it should be on the property owner or the agent of the owner to do this.
Every one to change the zoning.
Yeah, if you're requesting something, then you need to be paying for what you would like. It shouldn't be the town facilitating all the costs. All other towns have the fee schedule for the application.
Anybody else? Anything else? Everybody good?
I'll make these updates, I'll put together a new copy sheet based
Need
on,
to set up another date.
yes.
When do we have to advertise by June? In June, but we need
You
to
have to have a
have
budget
it.
by June 30th.
Do you want, we want to have it before the next meeting, or
You have to have 2 readings.
you want, when you have it done?
We'll have to have another meeting at the end of June, but we're gonna do that anyway because it's July 4th.
Right.
So there's already 2 in June.
Right.
So June 1st, we need to have something we can approve preliminary, and then have it finalized by the last meeting of June. So if we have another budget meeting, it would have to be next week or before it would have to be before June 1st, so we can talk about some changes and such.
Do we,
Do y'all wanna have another budget workshop?
I think so.
have it be the 25th, on Thursday, it'd be 25th.
Is the meeting in June? Is that-
No, it was May,
He's saying next week would be the 25th.
Yeah, next week will be the 25th. And then June the 1st is
Council.
the council meeting.
Is there any way not to do it on the 25th?
I'll give it whatever day. I prefer not to do it Thursday too, because I'm kind of tired of Thursdays.
Any day,
Monday or Wednesday would be great.
Let's do the church. Is everybody okay with Wednesday?
you haven't changed, you don't have a chance to do all this by Monday, do you? Or would you? I mean,
Wednesday would
you
be
tell
better.
us.
Wednesday be better?
Wednesday, it's church and all, but I mean, I don't think they're gonna kick us out of church.
I mean, the other option is we push it back till
Okay.
the 31st.
Wednesday before the,
That'd be the day before.
Yeah. We get to see each other twice in the same week.
What do y'all think? Let's see, like,
I don't care if it's an extra time.
I do.
The 24th or the 31st?
24th or 31st, which one?
Fine with either. Either works for me.
And the 31st is great because it gives me some more time to put some stuff
Yeah.
together.
So you're gonna have to tweak a good bit of stuff.
Well, and what I'd like to be able to do is, and I want to see how y'all feel about this, is I want to be able to send this out to you and get some preliminary feedback from you, or wait until anything until the 31st. What I don't want to have happen is the 31st rolls around and I've tweaked everything, and then something comes up or it's not exactly what you're looking for. I'm really hoping that the 31st, you're pretty close, and you're done pretty much.
Okay. 31st, 6 o'clock. Everybody? Okay. 31st, 6 o'clock.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made, second, adjourn, all in favor?